Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. Joining me as always is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
So I'll start with the news story, which is we just heard that the Seoul concerts for Map of the Soul 7 have now been canceled due to coronavirus. So this is the first time I've thought, wow, it's really getting serious over there. I mean, I know.
Yeah, it's been serious.
I mean, I know it's serious, but this is like things are being canceled and.
I mean, yeah, Japan canceled classes and things like that. Yeah, it's getting pretty serious over there. It's not even because of they don't want to. Maybe they don't, but they don't want people to be in a concert.
I assumed that was because of the large gathering.
I mean, on my WePly, the official statement is that some like foreign contractors and people who would have to travel there, they couldn't be sure that they would be cleared to travel, which makes sense. They have a lot of international people working on this concert, and there might be travel bans, so they might not be able to go to Korea, which is like has a second most instances of it, right? So if there's a travel ban, it makes sense that there would be one for there.
Right.
That's probably, I think they're telling the truth. That's probably what is going into this decision.
In their statement, it says, BTS Map of the Soul Tour Seoul, originally scheduled for April 11th and 12th and 18 and 19 at Olympic Stadium, has been canceled. Due to the worldwide spread of the coronavirus, it is currently unpredictable how far the virus will have spread by April. Furthermore, securing concert staff, equipment, and even mobility is uncertain. So you're saying it's more about the staff that they would have needed for the show.
It's more about international staff getting clearance to travel to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just about traveling, and if it's just about all the things that they stated, then why wouldn't the American dates be in jeopardy? It involves traveling. It involves all these things, right? Mm-hmm. But Korea has a higher instance of these things, and they have international staff. There may be travel bans on that staff going to Korea. That's why the Korean dates had to be canceled. That's not to say that it's impossible that the American dates can be canceled, but it seems less likely.
Well, just the fact that any dates are canceled, that makes me concerned for all the rest of them.
You'll get a refund, right? So,
do you think they're going to reschedule the Korea dates for later on?
No, that's hard to say because nobody knows when this coronavirus thing will be over. That's really hard to say. I'm going to guess they'll try, but you just never know with this type of thing.
Because it's hard to tell just how much is people are actually sick versus how much is just being exaggerated by the media.
I think that the number of people who are sick is exaggerated, but the thing is, countries are taking they don't want to get worse. So you can't predict what travel bans will come into effect. You know, that's really what they can't predict. And right. The travel bans are based on not necessarily how many people are sick, but just how concerned, like how much people want to contain it.
I mean, the best way to prevent the spread is quarantine, and
yes,
it's not going to help if a bunch of people from other countries are flying in.
Right. So they're going to try to prevent that.
Yeah.
And I think they see that that's coming down the pipeline, so they just got to cancel it. It probably will be canceled anyway. Better to do it now than last minute. So I don't think that it's an indicator that wow, this is a lot more serious than everybody's letting on, but. It could be, but this is not evidence that it is. I think this is just pragmatic, playing it safe.
Yeah,
they can see the writing on the wall.
It just happens to be more serious in their
it's just
area.
Like specific to Korea, right? They haven't canceled any other dates before or after it, right? Was Korea the last date on the tour?
That was the first dates.
Okay, so they haven't canceled later dates,
Mm-hmm.
But the later dates are in America, right? And one would presume that a lot of the staff they're talking about when they say quote unquote international staff, I bet you they're talking about American staff, right?
Right.
And also, it's unlikely that countries would have a travel ban on America. So let's say you're a European national and you had to travel for the BTS concert. Mm-hmm. You could travel to America.
Yeah.
It seems unlikely that there will be a travel ban.
Like there's cases in America, but they're all spread out. And it's just like one here and there.
But it's much more likely that there's a travel ban on China, which many countries already have. And number 2 on that list is South Korea. They have the second most instances. So any foreign national trying to travel to South Korea, it's very, very iffy. And they're just acknowledging that. See, they didn't cancel any American dates.
Yeah.
So I think it's more an acknowledgement of the travel bans that are coming down than anything else. It sucks. I'm sorry to you people who wanted to see it in Korea.
Yeah, I feel really bad for all of those
but,
people that bought
it is
tickets.
what it is.
Like, what can you do, though? This is just really bad timing for them.
Yeah.
And I did have an idea, though. What if because I'm sure this is having an effect on their economy. Like, this is not good for South Korea to have, a lot of people can't work. They have to stay home. They can't go anywhere. They can't spend money. They're not going to BTS concerts. And there's all these other things that are like preventing money from being spent. And their economy could crash. They could have like a big effect on it.
Good.
So, like, let's say towards the end of this, where coronavirus is slowing down, it's like not having an effect anymore. Towards the end of that, what if some lawmaker was like, here's an idea for a bill. Let's put a freeze on people going to enlistment because we need certain people to keep making money to bring back all the money to South Korea.
So somehow it will benefit BTS, the coronavirus happened?
Would that be inappropriate? I'm just saying this is towards the end when it's kind of like being resolved.
You're just thinking about what could happen.
Somebody has to think about that because like the economy of South Korea is very important.
Well, all countries think their own economy is important.
Yeah, but it's like you got to take active steps to do something about it. And I'm sure coronavirus has been pretty terrible for like all of Asia.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Look at the bright side, I guess, is what you're saying.
But what if they said, let's not enlist anyone in K-pop right now? Like, they can't just say, oh, just BTS. They have to be fair. Just have to say, let's just not do it right now for however long. And then just, like, forget about...
I agree that, just in general, I agree that should be the case. But will they? Well, I don't know. That's a good excuse, right? That's a good reason to go into it.
Because you kind of need them.
It's better than just, I want them to have an exemption.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it has a purpose, so that would be something that people can accept. Because it's like we need the economy to recover, so we need them to keep bringing money in. Get travel. Like a lot of it was tourism, so it's like we need to get people coming back to South Korea again and buying merch and going to concerts and getting back to normal. So I just feel like if someone is in the government, they should try to think about how to do that. Or
somebody, a big hit, should be lobbying using this rationale.
They should. I hope.
Yeah.
There's smart people there. I'm sure this has crossed somebody's mind.
Hey, I don't find it morbid or ghoulish at all to be trying to get a favorable legislation on the backs of potentially people dying. It's okay. It's happened many times throughout history. And in this case, that's for a good cause. I mean, people want this. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's better for Korea. It really is. They just need an excuse to enact the beneficial legislation.
Yeah. They just need a reason.
And
then everyone can say, yes, this is for the good of South Korea.
Because right now it's hard for them to make an exception because they don't want to make special exemptions and things like that. It doesn't feel fair, right? It probably offends their sense of fairness, which is fine, which is good, which is laudable that they as a society have, maybe some sense of fairness that says, well, why should BTS get an exemption? Okay, fine. But this would maybe give them an excuse to say, well, it's a special situation. We need a kickstart to the economy or something like that.
Yeah.
Gives them an excuse to do something that is the right move, the right self-interested move to, hey, boost their economy at a time when it needs it, right? It's presumably after coronavirus will create, sort of doldrums.
Like a downturn.
Yeah, if it gets bad, it could very well do that. We already know people are not traveling due to coronavirus. Although, you know what? I'm willing to take my chances. It's a great time to go to Italy. Probably the prices are really cheap because they have coronavirus there.
Oh,
there's a lot of it.
In Italy?
Yes. Strangely.
How did that happen?
And probably there would be I don't know. Some Chinese person flew over there and then boom, spread like wildfire.
Spread their germs.
Yeah. So great time to go. Great time to take advantage of everybody else's fear.
Well, you already had it, so you're going to be okay.
True, I already had it.
You're immune.
I'm immune. Well, they are not sure of that. They said that you might be able to catch it twice.
Oh, okay.
So even though I've had it once, I'm pretty sure I had it once, I still could catch it again. It's okay. I'll wash my hands. I'll be careful. You know.
You can get those masks that they wear.
I'll take the cut rate prices in Italy. It's not the price. The money is not an issue. So actually, no, I don't want to go there now. There's coronavirus there. I don't want to go there now. You know, I'll get a better deal, but if I die, oh no. You just reminded me that I could catch it again. It's possible. They said that you could catch it maybe twice. We'll go somewhere else.
We'll wait after coronavirus is over.
Yeah, okay.
On February 27, we saw the official video for On that came out, and I actually saw it when I was waking up in the morning, and I got a notification. So I actually saw this as it was premiering, amazingly. Mm-hmm. I never see something live. So it was a very cinematic video. It looked like it cost a lot of money. It had CG, and it had like a lot of wide shots filmed on location somewhere. They used drones.
Yeah, it looked like a good video. The thing is, like, I thought the first video was just a video, but apparently there's two videos.
I guess that's why they called it a kinetic manifesto film instead of a video.
But it really just felt like a video to me, right? And it was excellent. I think everyone loved it. I kind of felt like they shouldn't have made two videos of the same song, because they have so many songs on the album. Couldn't they spend this money on a video for another song? Right? Because this one song has a great video already. The dance video is great. I don't think anybody would complain if that was the only video and say, wow, you guys that one sucked, or it was, you cheaped out. No, it was awesome. Everyone loved it. Mm-hmm. So maybe spread it out a little bit more, because they have plenty of songs. They could have made a video for something else. Or maybe they just have tons of videos in the pipeline, and they're making a video for like every song. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know.
Maybe. I think this is one of those times where they had just a lot of good ideas, and the On is the title song. It's like, why don't we just do both and have one that has really awesome dancing, and then another one that has all of our like cinematic ideas that we want to show.
Honestly, I prefer the dance one. I didn't love the cinematic one because it is a very energetic song. It lends itself to a dance video. Mm-hmm. I don't think it lends itself to a cinematic video that's full of symbolism, which I think most people, by the way, got wrong. All the articles I'm reading are like, oh, it's like the Maze Runner or something. Are BTS really watching the Maze Runner? That was such a crappy film franchise. If they were watching the Maze Runner, if they were A, watching Maze Runner, and B, thought highly enough of it to draw inspiration and include a reference to it in a video, I would really lose respect for them. Like, really? The Maze Runner? You're going to include a reference of that in your video?
Right. It's a shitty
film.
See that.
It's a really crappy film, guys. I've tried to watch it because it had the guy from Game of Thrones in it. I couldn't. It was so bad. I just couldn't. And as far as I understand it, it was so bad that it was supposed to be a trilogy or something, right? And they just stopped on the second film. Did they even complete it? I think they just stopped, right? They stopped or something because it was just so bad and nobody liked it. It was a stupid, bad, unfortunate film franchise. Ugh. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but basically it's just like the Hunger Games. And then another studio says, we want our Hunger Games. Can you get an actress that sort of looks like Jennifer Lawrence, but not? And can you get a young adult fiction that's like it, but, different? Let's just like pump out a film real quick. It'll be successful. And they did that. And you know what? It wasn't, because it was crappy. I'm not even saying Hunger Games was good, but this was even worse.
It's like they're both the same. It's like, oh, let's force kids to do all these things in order to get by in life.
Right.
Let's torture kids.
It's so fucking bad. Oh my God. It's just...
And it's like, you know what? BTS doesn't draw inspiration from just like second-rate movies. That's not something they're looking at. They're looking at bigger things. Yeah. Like their whole album is named after like philosophy.
Right. Do you really think that people who name a whole album after Jungian concepts would draw inspiration from the Maze Runner? Not even the Hunger Games. If it was the Hunger Games, I would still shake my head. But at least you could say, well, that is the seminal, prominent thing of its kind in this generation, right? So, okay, sure. But the Maze Runner is just a pale imitation of that thing. So no, I don't think that that's the inspiration at all. And then another article said, well, somebody had a blindfold on, so it was drawing inspiration from the Bird Box. What the hell? That was just like a Netflix one-off movie.
A Netflix movie.
Why would they draw inspiration from? Also, hey, this goes back to other rants that I've had. A blindfold. Oh God, there's been many blindfolds outside of the Bird Box.
Yeah, they didn't start blindfolds. They're not the only ones. Yeah, Bird Box.
They didn't start blindfolds. They didn't end blindfolds. They were one very small slice of the long history of people being blindfolded.
There's been blindfolds throughout movie history.
Right. If someone's blindfolded, it's not a reference to that movie, guys. What are you talking about? That is dumb. I'm sorry, that is dumb. That's all I'm going to say. That is really, really dumb. I mean, I could come up with a bunch of analogies for how dumb this is, but I don't think I should even have to. You should see that blindfolds, it would be like, hey, you're wearing a shirt. Is that just like that other movie where they were wearing shirts? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? They wear shirts in every movie. What movie has people going topless, man? I mean, except like porn movies. What are you talking about? You can't say that people wearing a shirt was a reference to the Shirt movie. There is no Shirt movie. Every movie is the Shirt movie. Now, fair enough. Not every movie is a blindfold movie, but you get my point, right? There's many, many blindfolds in history. It's not the Bird Box. Way to be a prisoner of like the last 12 months or something. You know, popular media. I don't think that had anything to do with it. It's obviously pretty biblical. Like the scene where it's like an ark and there's animals in it. Yeah, that's pretty clearly ark.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that is, and also that goes way back to the source material. That is the original, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many movies have that theme? Very few, and all the ones that do are directly referencing Noah's Ark.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say that one. Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that one is biblical. It's Noah's Ark. You can't say someone wearing a blindfold is Bird Box. Dumb. But, you know, in the race to get internet content, you just put stuff out there.
Yeah. I saw a really humorous BuzzFeed article, and it was like, check out all these pop culture references. And it was like Maze Runner and Lion King and this and that and Noah's Ark. It's like, Noah's Ark isn't pop culture, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not pop culture.
I don't know if
it's not pop culture.
You know, open your Bible lately, but
I mean, well,
it's not just a Russell Crowe movie.
If 2,000-year-old literature is pop culture, I guess.
It's like, and you know, it was just some like college intern at BuzzFeed.
Even the Russell Crowe movie isn't pop culture because it wasn't successful. It's not that new. What was it, like 6 years old or something like that, right? So there's no way that qualifies as pop culture according to today's definitions. That movie is forgotten. Okay, so yeah, this is classic literature or Bible, or like, I don't want to say literature because that implies, you know, that it's fictional. Which, you know, if you believe in the Bible, you don't think it's fictional. But it's very old. It's not pop culture. Let's just put it that way. It's very established. It's in Western civilization. This is canon. This is the Bible. Western civilization is built upon this. Mm-hmm. Sorry to those of you who don't like Christianity. You don't have to like it. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to any of that. But if you live in Western civilization, you probably should acknowledge that it is built upon Western civilization, which in large part is Christianity. That's just reality, right? So this is just canon. It's embedded in the culture. It's 2,000 years old. It's not pop culture. It's not. And it makes sense because they do like to draw upon things that are a little bit more established than pop culture, right?
Right.
I don't think BTS are the type to just draw on something like what happened in the latest Ariana Grande video. Let's reference that. Why would they do that? No, it doesn't seem like they're those type of people. So
Yeah, they're going for a bigger message here.
they're going for something a little bit more lasting, a little bit more permanent, you know? And
the theme they're going for really fit biblical references. I think that's why they used it, and it's just pretty,
what theme? What
pretty
theme is
universal.
it? What theme?
Just overall, it's like people overcoming adversity, just in a really general sense.
Right.
But I think if it was Noah's Ark, it was going to be, because it looked like at the beginning of it, it was the end of a battle. It looked like there was flags and all this stuff, and then like
Right.
Jungkook looked like he's a POW. So it seemed like it was the end of like a really long conflict.
Right.
And then they showed RM with animals, so it's like he's the Noah.
Right.
And
But then there was another conflict, remember? When they were like, it looked like a post-apocalyptic, and some people were wearing dark colors and some people were wearing light colors.
yeah.
Was that like the apocalypse or
Maybe
something?
that was the one village. I don't know.
It seemed kind of apocalyptic, you know?
What happened in Noah's Ark was like, okay, all the humans were fighting, right? And then didn't God contact Noah, and he was like, build an ark and, you know, put this on it and be ready. And then he started this flood to like kind of start over. And
I don't know that humans were fighting, but humans were unworthy, right? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't raised Christian.
I know it was like humans weren't doing a good job running
Yeah.
things, so he was gonna just start everything over.
Yeah. I mean, I know that enough. Like, I know that. But were they having a conflict of some sort, though? Or were they just being
Well, they were all
unworthy?
fighting each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But then after the arc scene, they seem to be fighting each other still, right? Was that scene afterwards? Like they were confronting each other? There was like...
No, I think all of the scenes were afterwards.
Oh.
Like all of that already happened.
Oh.
And then it was like RM was gathering, you know, all the survivors, and they were walking to the like safe area that had the giant gates, and then they were gonna go in.
Weren't there like bad people in the gates or something?
No, I didn't see any villains, so that's why I think everything was over.
Oh, okay. So that scene where they confronted people wearing dark colors, that was before.
Are you talking about like during the dance break? Because I think that was just like they're dancing in their own village.
Well, yeah, because there were some people that seemed confrontational, didn't it? Like some people wearing dark colors and some people wearing light colors.
Oh, I took it as like this is our like ritual dance or something.
Oh, I took it as conflict. Like there's a war.
Oh, maybe it was like they were acting it out.
Okay.
You know, like Native Americans, like they'll just like this represents this.
Well, it's hard to say. Anyway,
It's all
I'm
symbolism.
not the type of person who likes to read too much.
Yeah, I'm not the one to interpret the videos. You can think
Right.
whatever you think happened.
Other people who have more time than I do can go ahead and break that down.
But RM led all the survivors to the new place to live, which is behind the gates. I guess that was safer than wherever they were.
Okay.
And then Jin released the bird, and then the bird flew away, and then all of the grass started to grow in that area. So I'm not sure exactly what that meant, but then after that, then you saw Jungkook join them. It's like he was the bird, or he represented the bird. I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure there's a lot of interpretations out there.
Right. I'm sure they wanted to mean something. That's wonderful. I still think they should have spent the money on another song. Unless they're just spending money on all the songs, in which case that's good. But hopefully they didn't sacrifice videos for other songs to do this one, because they already have a very good video for this song.
I think they just really like their tour choreography that they came up with, and they're like, we really want this in a video. Because I think the official video probably came first. That's this whole concept for them.
Yeah. Actually, you're right.
That probably took a long time.
Because that takes a longer time to plan and everything. So you're probably right. That probably came first, filming wise.
And I think they just like really love what they came up with for the choreography. They're like, we should just make that a video too.
Right. And it probably didn't cost that much to make that video.
Yeah, it had one set. And
had one set.
And it's probably the same dancers that they were going to use in the tour.
Yeah, actually, maybe that didn't even cost that much extra.
They're just like, hey, why not? Let's just film this.
So I don't want to interpret the video way too much.
Yeah.
That's not what we do here. It was good. Probably had biblical tones.
Yeah.
I don't think it had Maze Runner tones. I will argue against that.
Yeah, there's no Maze Runner.
It's not about a Maze Runner. It's not about Bird Box. It's not about things that happened in the last 12 months, guys. Well, just think about it this way. They were probably planning this video for more than 12 months, right?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah, I mean,
Something that
like,
of that quality.
yeah, it's not like they, they've been, these ideas have been percolating what they want to do with this for more than a year. I have to assume. Why would it just be stuff that's so recent? Like they just watched The Maze Runner, which by the way, I hope they didn't. I hope they're not wasting their time watching crappy movies like that. Or they just watched
crappy American movies.
Right,
too.
or they just watched Bird Box and like, wow, I really need to incorporate concepts from the Bird Box. Why? No, I don't think so, guys. Why would they be dying to incorporate the Bird Box into their next video? No, I don't think so. No. That's all I got to say about that. It was a good video though.
Yeah,
As long as they didn't like sacrifice other videos, because they already have a good one for this song.
I think they just meant it to symbolize their journey. They're as 7 people, the things they went through. It's like at the end, it's a triumph.
Yeah.
But yeah, excellent video. Very good production values. Can't believe this was only a few days ago, but the big Jimmy Fallon show with BTS was only on Monday, February 24th.
Yeah, we saw that.
The funny thing about that was when I heard about they were going to do Black Swan on James Corden, I was like, wait, where's Jimmy Fallon? Didn't he try to like get in on this and try to get them on his show for a comeback? And then now it all makes sense because he had this bigger thing in the works.
It was even bigger.
Yeah. And when they said, oh, it's going to be the whole show or the whole hour is for BTS, it wasn't really 100% the hour. Like he still had a monologue and everything, and
but it basically was the whole
bits.
show.
Yeah, but it was a special show. It was like
on the
subway theme.
Yeah, it's basically the whole show.
I guess
call it the whole show.
The reason for that was so you didn't have to deal with a studio audience and have it be in a studio,
right?
Because since they wanted to use that like nice venue at the Grand Central Station, and which I don't even know how they got the
they just paid to close it down.
Rights for that.
Right. They just paid to close it down.
Just needs money and influence. Like somebody pulled some strings somewhere to get that. But that's crazy that was all for BTS because you've never seen a show do that. Well, maybe you have, but I've never seen like a late night show do a special show like that.
No, they pulled out all the stops for them. They wouldn't do that for any artist. What other artist has gotten that sort of treatment?
Yeah, normally I can't
think of a single artist.
They just show up and do their song.
They do the song or maybe two.
Basic interview.
It made a lot of sense for a couple reasons. Like his interview of them in the subway, it's better if it's not in front of a live audience because they can cut out the interpreter parts.
Yeah.
Right. So it flows it flows smoother than if it was a live interview.
Recording it benefits them.
Because then they can talk to each other through interpreters, but you could just edit that part out. So that's good. A live interview, it would just be bogged down by interpreters, and it would just take time. It'd be clunky, but you didn't have that problem because it was pre-recorded. So in that way, that was a lot better. Obviously, it just felt more special because they were in a different venue. They're in Grand Central Station. So, and probably that performance it's too big for that stage.
Yeah.
Their stage is not big enough for that performance.
There's so many people involved in that.
So in that sense alone, they couldn't have done it there. That's what I'm thinking. And they had other fun segments like at the deli and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, overall, it just shows how big they are because no other artist got that treatment. I can't think of another artist that would get it.
No.
The
only thing that's similar to that is when, I think it's Jimmy Kimmel, but then they have it to where it's basically a concert somewhere. I don't know, like outside of his studio or whatever it is, but it's basically a concert.
Right.
But I think this was even better because it was like in a different place.
Right.
And like the whole show was for them.
That's right.
And on the interview in the subway, they asked some good questions. I think it wasn't like the normal questions. Jimmy Fallon was asking about the whole black bean noodle incident, which I didn't know was like such a story, but I do remember that V Live where they were like, oh, let's make reference to this, and it's like, what was that? And it's like, it wasn't even like such a huge thing. It was just basically they were training and like RM left to he said, "Oh, I'm going to the bathroom," and he didn't actually go to the bathroom. He just went to go eat some like black bean noodles.
Right.
And they didn't really explain this that well, but the reason that was a big deal is because they're all on strict diets and they can't just eat food whenever. They're only supposed to be eating like chicken and
like cheating.
Yeah, he was just like, "Oh my god, I'm hungry. I'm just gonna go get some noodles," and he was just snuck off to go get some. And like that was the whole point of that story. It was just like the betrayal of it. But I don't know if that was explained so well. But I guess if you are a BTS fan, you probably know like what was the point of that. But that was funny that was actually talked about on a American show.
Well, how old was this anecdote?
This must have happened like their trainee times. So
somebody cheated on a diet, and it's like such a big story that it lasts all the way till now.
Yeah, he still gets like reminded of that. It's just like the black bean noodle thing.
Right.
And then
hey, it's K-pop. Cheating on a diet is a big deal.
This is serious. They asked some other questions like, "Oh, what's it like to perform in front of so many people?" And then Jungkook was talking about he still remembers the very first performance when it was only 200 or 300 people, and it was like such a big deal. Like I'm sure that's something you would remember. And they talked about John Cena, and like now everyone is aware that John Cena is a huge BTS fan, but I didn't know they were like wrestling fans, so they said they were a fan of him too.
They could just be saying that now. Let's be real.
Well, then they started singing his theme song, which I didn't even know he had a theme song, but that's like going way back because now he's an actor, so they must have actually watched the wrestling days.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If you know his theme song.
Right. Okay. Well, I believe it then.
Although I remember The Rock, wasn't his like, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" or something like that? Yeah. I didn't watch wrestling, but it's
actually, like... but he was a famous
people are aware of The Rock.
Right.
Which you kind of forgot that he was a wrestler too, but...
I didn't forget. I'll never forget. A good show, all around. Good performance. Really good to see them get this special treatment. Mm-hmm. So...
It definitely showed their personalities on this show. Like, a lot of interview shows, it's just like they're just answering questions or whatever, and it's just
and then part of that is the fact that they're not doing a live interview. Because a live interview has the clunkiness of the translator. Yeah, you didn't have to see the translator this time.
And I think another thing that was really funny was just how much, if you're on Twitter, you can see a lot of the Jimmy Fallon team and Fallon Tonight, I guess is their Twitter, versus the James Corden people. It's like they're both like tweeting like nonstop about BTS basically, because his show's on Monday, and then the Carpool Karaoke is on Tuesday, and so it's like everybody's like trying to outdo themselves with all the like memes and tweets and everything to get the BTS fans.
I didn't see it on Twitter, but it's not like they won't watch both of them. So
yeah, it's like, oh, of course I'll watch both. So I support both. There's room in this world for everybody to be a BTS super fan. So that's the next topic, is the James Corden Carpool Karaoke episode,
which we watched.
Yes. And I never watched a Carpool Karaoke all the way through before.
I've watched
like
tons.
Sometimes I click on them and I like watch 2 minutes of it, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess they're singing.
Right.
And then, stop watching. But I've never watched one all the way through. So apparently, you have the artist on there, and then they sing some of their songs with James Corden in the car in a humorous bit, and some other songs as well. I had thought it was just their songs.
Well, karaoke implies that you're singing other people's songs.
That's true. It should be like 100% other people's songs.
I would like it to be 100% other people's songs. Because I know that you're singing yours. I mean, I've seen that.
Right, we've seen that before.
That's not interesting to me.
Maybe it's like such a revelation when it's an American artist, and it's like, oh, well, that's what you sound like live versus
I don't know,
a studio.
You could still have post production on that. It could be in the contract. You can post it.
That's true.
But they sang some other stuff, right? So that was really cool. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. But they sang a lot of their own stuff too, which didn't excite me. It's like, well, we've heard your own stuff.
They did Mic Drop and On, and so I guess that means James Corden heard it ahead of time than us.
Yeah, of course he did.
This is the perks of being a celebrity.
Yep. And
then they also sang a Post Malone song, which I was not that familiar with, but it seemed like a pretty good song.
It's a good song.
Circles. And then they sang Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B. And later on, I saw on Twitter that they both acknowledged that. They were like, oh, cool, this is good job, guys. So that's good.
Oh,
yeah, so I was saying Bruno Mars and Cardi B tweeted.
They acknowledged.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big deal
They
when
saw-
BTS sings their song now.
They saw the show, so that was good.
Just shows how far they've gone. I know we say this often, but it just shows how far they've come. You know? Other people are glad to see them throw some attention their way.
Yeah, like
You
you've
know?
never seen that with K-pop group before.
Right. So it just shows.
And there was a lot of pretty funny moments where James Corden was joking around with them, and there was one part where he was talking about, oh, what's everybody's nickname? And Jin was like, Worldwide Handsome. Of course, we all know that. And then James Corden's like, oh, that was my nickname too.
Right.
And then Jin was like, oh, so you're a joke guy.
Right.
He was like, obviously you were not called that.
Yes.
It's like the shade.
Right. Well, you know, I think that do they tend to be more blunt in Korea? I don't know. It's obviously just a joke and a joke. It's no
Yeah.
big deal. Just two people joking. It's no big deal.
And I don't know, you've seen more carpool karaoke's, but do they normally like go somewhere and stop the car and
No.
do stuff?
They usually just do the car.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was supposed to take place in the
Right.
car. But at the end of this one, they went to some kind of class
Some dance class.
and did some dancing,
Yep.
like a Zumba class, but more expensive than that.
Yeah.
So I wonder
yeah.
why they didn't do just the whole thing as in the car.
You know, I just probably just wanted to add a little bit extra to it as BTS.
Yeah,
They
maybe
just want to extend the segment.
maybe because there were 7 of them, they were like, well, you know, the ones in the back, maybe it's not as
You just want a
showing
longer
them as
segment.
much.
You just want it to be a little bit extra.
Yeah.
No, that's all there is to it. And it did add something to it, so.
Yeah, I think that was pretty funny. On the February 24th show for Howard Stern on Sirius Radio, he was talking about the growing concern over coronavirus, which is something we're all talking about and we talked about earlier today. So he was talking about that on his show. And then the topic turned to BTS somehow because BTS had visited the Sirius New York headquarters on February 21st, and the staff member named Sal Governale was talking about, basically he was like, they're from Korea, they have coronavirus, and he was being pretty negative about it, and a lot of people think racist,
Right.
because he was being very paranoid about coronavirus. And so it's basically that one staffer that was making those comments. And then Howard Stern was saying, you know, if they're from Korea, they're not from China, which is where it all started. So maybe you're being too paranoid about it. And it's like, the other thing is, you're in New York. There's people traveling from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why you're like extra paranoid about BTS being Korean and carrying coronavirus. It could be anybody who was in an airport.
Right. Well, in some ways, it is a fact that people from certain countries are statistically more likely to have the coronavirus. Those countries being China and South Korea. That is true. It's more likely that you have it if you're from one of these countries than if you're from Sweden, correct? Just going by the numbers. Now, the thing is, though, like they mentioned on the show and other people have pointed out, the kind of people who go through that place have done so much traveling that it sort of seems like a non-issue. Everybody is pretty likely to have encountered many types of people. You know, it's just a zone where you're at risk. You're not more at risk because somebody is South Korean. You're not more at risk because someone's from China.
Yeah.
But
like New York City is basically like an airport. It's like every country has people going there and leaving there and passing through.
Yeah. But I'm not going to necessarily jump on the whole, oh, wow, that's so racist bandwagon just yet. It's borderline, but hey, statistically speaking, South Korea and China, that's the highest concentration of coronavirus at the moment. That is true. But then again, I mean, hasn't BTS been traveling outside of the country for like most of the last 6 months?
Yeah, they themselves have.
Right,
haven't
they
been,
themselves have not been in Korea that much. So, the specifics of the case, no, the person's obviously wrong. But if you're talking about the typical South Korean or the typical Chinese citizen, yes, you're more likely to have it, especially if you've been in the country recently. That's just the truth, right? And I don't think that shouldn't be like paranoid about it or anything like that, but
I do think the staffer was being over the top, possibly for humor reasons, though.
yeah,
It might have been just like,
it sounds like something you'd say.
I'm going to say something outrageous because coronavirus is a thing right now.
It does sound like that, right? It sounds like something I would joke about. If I knew somebody who just came from China, I'd probably joke about it. I'm like, this is a good joke to make right now. Hey, I'm just saying. It is what it is.
It's just like anyone who's like Ukrainian or Russian. It's like you talk about them having influence on our elections or something. It's like it's the same thing. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, right.
It's just like a joke.
Yeah, it's just a joke. I wouldn't read too much into it. I mean, I'm perpetually hard to offend, or not so hard to offend. I don't know. It's very borderline. It's obviously a baseless assumption, but not that baseless. I mean, it does have. Oh,
well, gosh. I don't think this was like, oh, I'm going to intentionally rile up these fans. It wasn't like the H3 situation. I think this was just like, I somewhat have a concern about coronavirus, that I'll just exaggerate it for
I don't
humor.
even think, did he have a concern? If he really had a concern, then that is stupid.
Well, supposedly,
but I don't think it's racist. I just think it's stupid.
These people are like germaphobes, so that might have been.
I don't think it's racist. I just think it's stupid and unfounded. Just like this, it's not a concern. These people come from this country, so what? You know how many people come from that country? And these people have been traveling like constantly, right? And they haven't been in South Korea. They haven't been in Wuhan, right? So just calm down. Was he just making a joke, or was he actually concerned? I didn't even listen to the segment.
No, I just read an article about it.
Well,
so.
There we go.
I didn't hear the tone of the...
If it was a joke, I fully support it. I fully support joking about anything at any time. There is no such thing as too soon. There's nothing like that. You can make a joke about anything. If people don't like it, then you don't like it. Somebody will like it. That's what jokes are. Not everybody's got to like it. If some people like it, then hey, your joke worked. So if he was joking, then I fully support it. If it was an actual fear, then no. The stats don't back it up. There's nothing to be afraid of. But at the same time, if it's just an actual fear, for his own safety, I'm not going to come down on the guy's like, you're a bigot or whatever. Like, the guy's afraid for his own safety. Calm down, right? People who are afraid for their own safety, maybe sometimes they don't think so clearly. Okay, be charitable about it. Sometimes people are just, they just blurt things out, right? Like I was at work today and then someone was coughing. I was like, oh shit, did they have the coronavirus? It's like, they probably, oh my God, are you serious? What's the likelihood that they, just because they're coughing? Very, very, it's just an unfounded fear, right? But you could see, okay, you're just afraid, it's a gut reaction. Fine. I would be charitable and say he's not a bigot. He's just being like unreasonably paranoid.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are. It's a scary story. A lot of people are reacting to it in unreasonable ways. Not all of these people are bigots. They're just uneducated and reacting irrationally. Hey, that happens. Is it ideal? No. Are you a bigot because you're uneducated about something or reacting irrationally to, a pandemic? No. So I'm not going to say that in this instance. That's close, but I'm not going to say it. I didn't hear the segment.
Yeah. Well, you have to have like satellite radio in order to.
Yeah, and I don't do satellite radio.
It's like, how do you even?
Why the hell would I? I'm not like 60 years old. Who even does satellite radio? Boomers. That's it. I stream everything. I YouTube everything.
A big story right now in Washington is, well, other than all the other stuff that's going on, but there's a House committee talking about Ticketmaster and StubHub and pricing policies.
I saw that.
And they had a hearing with the 6 major ticketing companies because of just a lot of complaints from lawmakers and the public about online ticketing, that the fees are high and it's hard to get tickets, and it's like, why is that? And of course they call up the heads of these companies to, it's like, okay, explain yourself, what's going on. And
right.
I don't know if there's like any easy answer to that. If it's just, are they actually trying to not have bots and
this is very relevant because
everything?
everybody was trying to get BTS tickets and affected that.
Yeah, I mean, do we think it was really hard to get tickets, or was the experience okay? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell compared to what, Like, I don't know a time that was different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the complaints people have is that all the tickets are sold out, and then now they have to pay more on the secondary market, right? That's a lot of the complaint.
Yeah.
But isn't this just, that's not the fault of the Ticketmaster, really. That's just that's their pricing structure, that's the pricing structure, right? I guess in a sense it could be labeled their fault, but I don't think it's malicious, and I don't think they're negligent in this regard. Basically, they price the tickets a certain way and they sell out. Now, you could say, well, why do you price the tickets in a way that they sell out? So, but then you're arguing that tickets should cost more, right? Or they should be more dynamic in pricing. Mm-hmm. For instance, in San Francisco, they should cost a lot more than they do in Tampa. That's what you're arguing for, right? Which I argue for. I think that should be the case, right? Yeah. But what the issue is here is that, number one, a lot of the problem is scalpers and stuff using bots to buy up tickets really quick, and then they sell it on the secondary market. People don't like that. Is that the fault of the Ticketmaster? No, I don't think that's their fault. And in fact, they do like with verified fan and things like that. They try to combat things, that sort of thing, bots.
And there is a lot of secondary checks that they do. Like, sometimes it's like, you can't log in, we'll send you a text, you enter the code,
right.
And then
if you ever try to buy tickets, you'll see that they do try to combat bots purchasing these things.
Sometimes there's multiple steps before you can buy a ticket.
But the root of the problem is that the tickets are not sold at their optimal price. They're sold, here's the thing, tickets are sold at a price, and this is intentional. I always say, maybe you guys should just price the tickets more appropriately. You should price it towards the market. They're not stupid. They know what the market price of these tickets are. They know it's not the same in Tampa as it is in San Francisco. And yet, they price it so that they price tickets to sell out. They know that they could probably fetch a more optimal price that's a higher price for some of these tickets. And by the way, here's what optimal pricing looks like. If you have priced your tickets optimally, you won't sell out. Think about it. Why would you sell out if you priced it optimally? If you priced it optimally, if you sell out, that probably indicates the price is too low, especially if you sell out quickly, right? You could have made more money selling it at a higher price and selling maybe slightly fewer tickets, but at a higher price point. You would have made more money. That's optimal pricing. They don't like to do that because it runs a risk of not selling out. And that has its own drawbacks. People don't like to see a half-filled arena, right?
Right, and artists love to say, it's sold out show. Yeah,
artists love to say, we sold out. And also, Ticketmaster and the artists love to be able to sell out a venue, sell out a tour months in advance, because guaranteed money months in advance, you could bank on that. You could say, well, this is how much money we have. It's not as comfortable to go all the way up to the date of the event and still have unsold tickets because you priced it correctly. If you price it correctly, not all the tickets would have sold. Some would be unsold all the way up to the date of the event, and some would be unsold even after the date of the event. That's optimal. That's what optimal pricing looks like. Optimal pricing doesn't look like you sell out of everything in the first day. And yet, a lot of the concerts you see, they sell out in the first day. That means they weren't optimally priced. They want to sell out on the first day. If they want to make more money, if they think they can make more money, here's what they do. Their acts play in a larger venue, just like BTS is doing. They play in a larger venue, they sell more tickets. Scalpers will still buy a ton of them. They'll still, make a token effort to try to stop it. But in honesty, I'm not sure that they even really, really try to stop it. It's not that much of a concern to them. They get the money either way. Whether a verified fan buys this ticket at face value or a scalper buys it at face value, they get the money at a very early date, and that's what they want. Ticketmaster
the COO of Ticketmaster was saying that the biggest challenge is just supply and demand, but it doesn't seem to me. I don't agree because here's the thing. Supply and demand is not a challenge. Here's how you fix the supply and demand challenge. For all of you who've taken economics, you know the answer here. It's very simple. You raise prices. You raise prices and you reduce demand. That's it. But my point is, I don't think that you buy a ticket, not everything you buy is in demand. It's like just like BTS and Taylor Swift and like the couple of big acts. Like everything else you can still get a ticket for. Right.
That's true. But the thing is, they know the varying demands, right? I mean, they're not psychic. They don't know everything to the nth degree or anything like that. But they know, things have different prices. It's obvious they know comparatively which things have more demand than others. But supply and demand is never a problem. But you see, here they get to sell out a stadium, get their fixed amount early, get to say they sold out, get to claim that they didn't charge an arm and a leg for a ticket. The scalpers have to take on that burden of responsibility, right? But that's what the market dictated that the ticket should cost. But you see, the Ticketmaster doesn't have to. As expensive as you think the tickets are, in some markets they're too cheap. How do I know they're too cheap? They sold out on day one. If something sells out on day one, it was too cheap. Even if you have 65,000 tickets and they all sell out in a single day, they were too cheap. They should have been priced higher. Ticketmaster doesn't want to be. They don't want to be accused of price. See, then they get criticism from regulatory committees and fans, etc. That why are you price gouging the people in the Bay Area? It's like, because you guys can afford it.
Yeah.
That would be the correct way to price it. The demand is high. The disposable income is high. The supply is fixed. Obviously, the price should go up. If everything sells out within 6 hours, clearly the prices should have been higher. But they don't want to have higher prices because it's a bad look, and they're okay with the amount of money they're getting. And there's a certain amount of risk to pricing it higher too. And they're totally happy with letting the scalpers assume that risk. It's not even a problem. That's not hard to fix. It's an easy fix.
I think that's why they prefer to have, with the LA dates for the Rose Bowl for BTS, they had 2 dates and then those, sold out or almost sold out. And then they added the third one, but they didn't have like 3 dates starting out. They'd rather sell out 2 and then open the third one if needed.
Yeah.
They'd rather do it that way to demonstrate that there was enough demand.
Right. So when they say supply and demand is a problem, supply and demand is not the problem. Like the prices that you're paying from the scalpers, you complain because you have to pay the scalpers a certain amount of money. And you think that in a world that doesn't have scalpers, then you just get to pay face value? No. Things will always find a way to price themselves according to the market value. There will always be some sort of black market. It will always try to. Things will seek their level, right? Things will seek to be priced correctly, accurately. Their mistake, quote unquote mistake, is just not trying to price things optimally and accurately in the first place. And now it's up to the secondary market, aka the scalpers, to price things optimally. When you complain about the fact that a BTS ticket costs X amount of money from StubHub, the problem is that is what a BTS ticket should cost based on the supply and the demand. They are expensive things, apparently. That's not the way it is for every ticket. Like I can see there's other concerts where there's practically no demand and they don't sell out. And you know what you can do? You can just wait until the day of the concert. There's plenty of tickets left and you can buy it for like half the face value, right? That's supply and demand driving the price in the other direction. You just don't like paying more, which is totally understandable. Nobody likes paying more, but unfortunately, this is just what it is. Probably the only people who can drive these prices down is BTS. They could do more dates. That's the only thing that will drive these prices down.
Yeah.
Everything else.
You said that there were some cities where there was less demand. So
and there's some cities where there's less demand. I bet you anything you could have gotten those tickets.
Could have gone to the Dallas or
not I think Tampa.
What did you say? Dallas and Orlando.
Orlando, not Tampa, Orlando.
Oh, and you said Landover.
Landover, yeah, because it's a Wednesday. So these are your options. You just have to work
what
supply and demand.
Less demand was there.
Right.
Well, do you think high hidden fees was an issue, or do you think it's pretty clear what it's going to cost?
I don't think hidden fees is that much of an issue.
I don't either. It's like, there's going to be some added
Once
on.
you've bought tickets enough, you know what these fees are.
They added something at the end. You know that.
Yeah. You already know mentally to add it. Hopefully. You should.
I feel like Congress thinks that's a huge issue, but it's like, okay, we don't think it's going to like quadruple the price or something.
Even if the fees were up front, then okay, whatever. Then they'd just be up front.
Like, okay, so we're going to spend it anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They think that's one of the bigger issues.
Well,
but I don't.
But the thing is, like, how hidden are they? Before you hit confirm,
yeah, you're not.
They're showing you the full price.
They didn't put a gun to your head.
Yeah.
And say,
I've clicked on things, and then there was an extra fee at the end, and I said, "Wow, where'd this fee come from?" And if it was too much for me, or I felt like now it's not worth it, then you know what? I didn't buy that thing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. No one's being like deceived or anything.
So then don't buy that thing. If this fee push it over your budget or your limit, then I don't know. Am I talking to 5-year-olds now? Or the answer seems simple to me.
I think
if you're over 5, you should probably know that that's the answer.
This is one of those things consumers just complain about, and so then the company has to say, "Oh yeah, we're taking that seriously." But it's like that's not really an issue.
No,
like everybody who
I don't think so
is average intelligence knows it's like it's going to be this cost. You know it by the end of the transaction,
right?
But yeah, I don't think that's one of the issues that Congress needs to be caring about.
It's not hidden. Hidden implies that you never know about it. Like it just shows up on your credit card statement one day. That's not what it is.
Right.
It showed up in the cart before you hit confirm.
And it's like, okay, it sucks. It's not right away that you know about that extra part, but you know it before the end.
This is just one of those issues where Congress likes to bring people before them and testify.
Yeah, like sometimes I think that's just completely pointless. Like, what's the point of them talking about it and then Congress people, like those people don't understand the industry. They looked into it for like half a day. And
they just like to act like they've done something. So.
Yeah. It's like, I fought for you guys for ticket prices.
Right. But there's no problem here. The tickets are the system happens the way Ticketmaster wants, the way the artists want.
Well, another point that was brought up is that Ticketmaster, they had merged with Live Nation in 2010. At that time, they were separate companies. Now they're one company, and together they control like 80%.
Oh, people are saying it's a monopoly, but that doesn't hold water because Ticketmaster and Live Nation, they sell at a price that tends to sell out. And then the pricing is then taken over by a market, StubHub, etc., right? SeatGeek. It's not competition that creates these high prices. It is the free market pricing something accurately. That's what's creating the high prices. The prices should be high. That's why they're high. You want a system, if you want the prices to be lower, you want a system that has artificially low prices. Now, are there systems that have artificially low prices? Yes. But I'm sorry to tell you that this is probably not going to be one of them. Number one, we live in a generally free market society, and there's no reason for this to buck that trend. Why would this have artificially low prices? No, I don't think it would. It just wouldn't.
I think we just have Congress involved because there's individuals that don't like what those prices are, and they're like, there's something unfair about all this.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just some noisy people complaining about it. But again, it's not like the biggest deal, right? It's just concert tickets. It's not like medicine or anything like that. So there's just not going to be a lot of backing behind changing this thing. So they're just barking up the wrong tree if they think that some congressional committee is going to lower concert prices, because concert prices they're priced very accurately because they're subject to the free market. If your ticket is expensive, it's because they should be expensive. Maybe that's not what you want to hear, but that's what it is.
Update from YG about what their plans are for 2020. They are planning a new girl group for second half of 2020. It's already March almost.
Right.
So this group must be like almost ready to go. Yep. So that's crazy. I guess they're trying to have like an ITZY, like a new girl group. that's gonna...
Well, I mean, I won't say that much about this except what everybody else has said, which is how the hell can they have a new girl group? They're not even supporting the one they have. But maybe they have a different angle on it. It's not Girl Crush, it's something else. But even that, they don't do anything. It's hard to see them supporting this group.
I feel like YG has a lot of big plans, but I don't see a lot of action so
Right.
far.
Well, hopefully it's gonna come out and they're just gonna have a flood of activity. Hopefully you can just think positive thoughts. Going forward, they're just gonna support every group properly.
Yeah.
You can think those positive thoughts, but there's nothing in their past that would suggest that it's gonna happen.
We do know Winner has an album that they are almost finishing up with, so that should be another comeback soon. Blackpink supposedly was going to come back in March, but this might be delayed for various reasons, which I don't know if related to coronavirus or not, but might be later on than March.
Well, either way, I look forward to it.
And Big Bang, as you know, is booked for Coachella, and apparently they have other unspecified activities planned after that. So
yeah, I think you never know. I mean, all you can do, it's easy to rag on YG and just say, what are you doing? We have no faith in you. But the reality is you can't do anything about it either way. All you can do is hope that they'll do it. That's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they are just getting back on track and that this is not just like optimism. This is actually happens.
I mean, I hate to say that. That's all you can do is just try to think positive thoughts. It's not my way either, because usually I'm not that type of person. Usually, like for instance, when it comes to like sports teams or whatever, and if I like a sports team and they suck, I only want to dwell on the negatives and the hatred. I'm like, why are you sucking? All this, this is my issue with, I just dwell on my hatred of my favorite sports. I hate my favorite sports teams more than I love them, I think. I just all have burning hatred for their failures.
Like you just want them to do things the right way.
Yeah, and I just dwell on what they're doing wrong. So I'm a total hypocrite. But it's the same thing. So if you're a fan of YG, I could totally forgive you if you just want to hate on them. Try just hoping for better results. Will that produce better results? No. Like you hoping for it and putting positive energy out in the universe isn't going to produce anything better either. But I don't know. Maybe it just makes you feel better. Maybe it'll make you age less. Okay. So maybe just try that. But needless to say, I don't have high hopes for anything YG does. I don't think that they'll support this new group. I don't think they'll support their current groups or even keep people out of jail. It feels like some more YG related people are going to jail. So that's what's happening with them. Too bad, because they have a lot of talent under their label.
Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. New episodes weekly. Please comment, review, or rate on the podcast platform you're using. Follow us on Twitter @OurBTS. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.